If you're trying to learn AI governance right now, I want to flag something for you. It is possible that the way you're learning it might not get you where you want to go. And it's not because you're not putting in the work. It's because the way most people are learning AI governance does not match how AI governance actually works inside real organizations. And if you don't catch that mismatch early, you could spend months studying and still not be able to explain what you would actually do in the role. In this video, I am going to walk through what I think people are getting wrong and what I would do instead. Hi, my name is Dr. Obi. I am an educator, a researcher, and a consultant in the area of cybersecurity and AI governance. I help professionals transition into AI governance. And if that's you, please subscribe. So let me start with a mistake that I keep seeing. Most people are learning AI governance like it's a reading exercise. They're consuming frameworks, definitions, policies, regulations, and they're thinking, if I understand all of these, then I'm ready. And I understand that instinct. It feels productive. After all, you're learning quite a lot. However, there's a disconnect. AI governance is more than just a knowledge domain. It's mostly an applied decision-making function. Now, you may ask me, what do you mean it's not about what you know? Well, knowing is one thing, but doing it is another. When you really think about how it works, the problems it solves, the decisions it helps drive, you would come to the conclusion that AI governance is about what you can do. And that changes everything about how you should be preparing for this role. Let me walk you through 3 patterns that I keep seeing. Pattern number 1, or mistake number 1, is learning frameworks without context. People memorize NIST AI Risk Management Framework, ISO 42001, the EU AI Act, and those are very important. I talk about them a lot. But the issue that I see is when I ask someone, okay, so you know the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. When would you actually use it? What problems does it solve? And what decisions does it influence? And they struggle with that. Because knowing a framework and knowing when and how to apply it are 2 different things. Frameworks do not create value. Decisions do. Mistake number 2 is treating AI governance like it's only compliance. Now, there's this assumption that AI governance is about writing policies and filling out checklists. And look, those are important. They are part of AI governance. Compliance does matter. But in practice, AI governance professionals are doing a lot more than that. They're working with product teams. They're evaluating real systems in real time. They are influencing whether something gets deployed or held back. They're sitting at the intersection of technology, policy, and real world risk. And they have to be credible in all 3 of those conversations. If all you can do is write policies, you'll be left out of the conversation that actually matter. Mistake number 3 is avoiding the technical context. This is the one I think people need to hear the most. Now, when I hear this a lot, I want to do governance, not the technical work. And I respect that. You don't need to be an engineer. Companies already have engineers working for them. But you do need to understand how AI systems behave, because that's where the risk lives. Not in the policy document and not in the framework. Those risks reside inside the system. Where does bias enter? Where can errors compound? Where are decisions being made autonomously that a human should be reviewing? If you can't engage with those questions at some level, you'll always be dependent on someone else to tell you where the risks are. And that limits your effectiveness. You can't govern what you refuse to understand. So let's talk about what I think works better. Step number 1, learn through systems, not frameworks. So instead of starting with what does the NIST AI RMF say, start with how does this AI system actually work? Where is the input? Where is the output? Where can things go wrong? Where is a human in the loop and where isn't one? You see why certain controls exist. You understand what a risk assessment is actually trying to capture. Governance starts with understanding the system, not the framework. Step number 2 is practice decision making, not memorization. This is a shift that I think matters most. So, what you do with that is you stop asking, what does the framework say? And start asking, what would I do in this situation? For example, this model is showing bias in production. What's my next step? This system has been deployed for 6 months. What risks am I monitoring? A team wants to launch a new AI feature next week. What am I looking at before I give the green light? When you can think through these questions with real reasoning, not just reciting framework categories, that's when you start sounding like someone who can do this job. The market rewards judgment, not memorization. So stay till the end of this video. I'm going to share the identity shift that I think separates people who get into this field from people who keep preparing forever. Step number 3, build applied artifact. This is where I see people really start to separate themselves. So instead of just studying AI governance, create something that shows you can do it. Write a risk assessment for a hypothetical AI deployment, build a model evaluation checklist to a real scenario. Draft a governance policy with actual implementation guidelines, not just principles. Something that I've learned, and I'll keep learning, is that companies don't hire explanations. They hire evidence. A portfolio of governance work products will do so much more for your candidacy. Step number 4 is shift your identity. This is an important one, and it's the most important shift of all. Right now, a lot of people are working towards becoming someone who understands AI governance. That's the wrong target. The target should be becoming someone who helps organizations make AI decisions safely. Do you hear the difference? One is about knowledge, the other is about impact. When you show up in an interview and you're talking about decisions that you've influenced, risk trade-offs that you've navigated, systems that you've evaluated, even in hypothetical or volunteer context, you sound fundamentally different from someone who can only explain what the NIST AI RMF says. Your value is not in what you know, it's in what you can guide. And here's a career reality right now. The market is splitting into 2 groups, people who can explain AI governance and people who can apply it. And only one of those groups is getting hired consistently. AI governance is growing fast. The demand is undeniable. 81% increase in Fortune 500 hiring. 98.5% of organizations say they need more governance staff. But the expectations are growing just as fast. Employers are not just looking for people who studied the right frameworks, they're looking for people who can walk into a cross-functional room and help the organization make better decisions about AI. Risk assessment skills show up in 50% of job postings, stakeholder management in 40%. Communication skills are what separates candidates. The frameworks are just the basics. What differentiates you is your ability to apply them in a messy, ambiguous, real world situation where there's no clear right answer. That's actually encouraging if you think about it, because applied capability is something you can build on your own. You don't need permission. You don't need a job offer first. You can start today. So if you're serious about moving into this field, stop learning AI governance like a student. Start learning it like a practitioner. Understand the systems, practice the decisions, build the artifacts, and shift how you think about yourself from someone who knows about governance to someone who does it. Because the difference between knowing and doing is the difference between watching this field grow from the outside and actually being part of it. If you want more content like this, where I break down what actually matters in AI governance and how to position yourself to get hired, subscribe. I'm going to keep showing you how to do this the right way. Drop a comment. Which of these 3 mistakes resonated most with you? I'd love to know where you are in the journey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.